Welcome to Transatlantic Wrestling Talk. I am your host, Andy, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Dale. How we doing, my brother?
Welcome back, everybody watching the show today. So we've been far away. Life got involved, but we kicked life back.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
was
good.
my fault. I had COVID.
Why did you say that? I wasn't going to disclose anything. So yeah, we're talking about the coof, but anyway, we're going back into Wrestlemania season, and we're really excited about it. I mean, Andy had a good idea with Super Bowl, but I figured since we're going into March, a lot of the Wrestlemanias, about like 20 some odd years ago, ended up starting at 20. I'm sorry, not at 20, but they started in March back in the day. So you would have that 2 month gap, and then, King of the Ring later on, and whatever. But anyway, we figured let's go into WrestleMania 20. It's a glorious, glorious time at this point. I think that there's a card there that's built up in just such a nice way and very memorable. No matter how the WWE want to spin it.
That's it. And one thing I noticed with this, was this one of the last ones that they done in arena? It wasn't long after this they started pulling over towards stadiums, was it?
Pretty much, I think on 21 they actually ended up going into Hollywood, but it wasn't an open air stadium, if I
No,
recall.
no.
So it was just inside a arena as well. But yeah, I think that they wanted to do it at Madison Square Garden, and it's a pivotal place. This is Vince's baby as far as wrestling goes,
Mm.
and you see how triumphant it is now as a company. That's why you have your flagship show at the Garden, and it makes sense. Plus, I was there for this, but I guess we'll get into that in the long run. But Andy, when you think of Madison Square Garden, how high on a priority is it for you as a viewer when something is there?
Do you know what? Yeah, it is because I'm the same of that. I do love the fact that it's Madison Square Garden. I don't know why, because I've never been to Madison Square Garden. It's somewhere that obviously I really want to go, but it's just iconic, isn't it?
For the most part, yeah. You have lots of acts that go through there on their major tours. I think people like the Eagles toured there last. The Who, Billy Joel goes there. A lot of different acts. Although Billy Joel will never retire, I'm convinced. But is Billy Joel important to you over there?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah. Love
Yeah.
a bit of Billy.
Yeah. I grew up a couple towns away from where he grew up too. So there's a lot of lineage with that. But yes, as far as mainstays and acts go, a lot of people go through the Garden, including the Rangers that I hate, but that's another story. But anyway, we have WrestleMania 20. This is March 14th.
Yeah.
So
So can I just
almost,
give? I just want to give a bit of WrestleMania history here. Okay.
yes.
Right. Okay. So what was the first open air WrestleMania?
Open air WrestleMania. I would love to just right out there. I think it's actually the one with Flair's retirement. Oh,
Nope.
open air. Wait a minute. No, that would technically be
Oh.
3.
Nope.
What do you
7.
got?
Sorry, 8. Oh no, sorry, 9. What the hell am I on about? Caesar's Palace.
Oh, very good. Yeah, that's a curveball because
Okay.
nobody
And
wants to watch that one.
what was the first stadium WrestleMania?
Pontiac Silverdome.
You could say that. I mean, is that a stadium or is it not a stadium?
It's in Detroit, right?
Mm, okay. So the one that I'm gonna go for is the T-Mobile Park at Seattle, which hosted WrestleMania 19.
19. Yeah. Wow. I didn't think about that. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to say like a proper sportery, like a stadium as a part to it.
Uh, yeah, but wouldn't Detroit be the main focal point as far as stadiums go? Where Andre
Uh,
was slammed? I would think that kind of goes up there.
hmm,
because you have Jake the Snake versus, I'm sorry, not Jake the Snake, Steamboat versus Savage. That same event too. I thought that was the
Yeah.
same.
Pontiac Silverdome. Is it a thingy?
It's very debatable, but you want to talk about open air? That makes sense.
Yeah, AstroTurf, it said there. Around that time, it was the Michigan Panthers were using it. 83, 80. Oh no, I don't know. Would you say it was a? I don't know. It's one of them, isn't it? You could say. You could say.
If there's no dome on top, then we're good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
I don't
All
know.
right.
It's interesting, isn't it? But
Oh yeah.
it'll be on it all day.
Of course. Yeah, it's debatable. But
Yeah.
listen, Andy. So you got attendance of 20,000, buy rate 1,020,000. It's a lot of money at $35, maybe $40 a pop. Could have saved me a little bit of shekels there if I had known that. But overall, though, doesn't matter. What did you think overall as far as like going into this? Were you excited rewatching this?
Yes, yeah. I was made up to rewatch it. For me personally, it was the birth of Cena.
Without a doubt. Yep. I had a Cena. I'll show you. I have a picture. I had a Cena shirt. I had a 3/4 sleeve just like this too. And it had the WWE logo on it, but it was WW, the vintage one. I had a Cena hat too. This was it. This is how you open up the bout. And we're going to go right into it. Harlem Boys Choir did a fantastic job singing the national anthem. Very nice there. 10 years prior to that was Little Richie, a.k.a. Mark Marrow, a.k.a. Johnny B. Bad, singing America the Beautiful. But I'd say overall, John Cena versus Big Show, that's how you get the crowd going, right?
Yeah, not half. And I thought the whole match was quite good, nicely timed, but also the finish was just brilliant. Exactly what it needed to be.
Good struggle here. Even you got a Cobra clutch applied from Big Show onto Cena at some point in the match, and I go, "Ooh, look at how technical this man is." Big Show could wrestle, and this is when he was just at that plateau weight too. You would gain a couple more pounds when he'd go to that ECW brand, but damn, he was a big dude.
He was, and do you know what? I think they used him really well here to get Cena over. This is how you use the big man who's been there a while, and it got me thinking about obviously current wrestling with Omos and Lesnar. And it was like, I don't really see unless Omos destroys Lesnar on his way out, I don't really see the benefit of having Lesnar in that spot.
No, agreed. Because it's not like you're passing the torch to Omos.
No,
Nobody's asking for that. This is a
no.
less talented Khali.
Yeah, I mean, if they are going to pass the torch, then as much as I don't agree with it, I'll be like, okay, well, that's fine. But in terms of like how we do it, it's like this is if they're going to have Lesnar go over, then Cena versus Big Show is how you do it. Lesnar versus Omos is not how you do it.
I'd agree. That's a good comparison there, Andy. I think that's very solid considering the fact that it's like, all right, well, how are you going to make that next big move there? And we'd see, and I'll bring it up again, a couple months from now when they have another brand split, you'll see Cena facing guys like Rene Dupree. I think Carlito maybe as well for that United States Championship. Because that this is a placeholder for the champion at that point. Yeah. And we'll probably dissect what's going on. I think you want to talk about that one later, and we'll discuss that. But great opener. Cena hits Show with the chain, then gets him up for the FU. Huge pop for the win. It's a great way to take the start of the WrestleMania season.
Yeah, definitely. And the way that he finished it as well is Cena could talk and he had all the rest of it, but also he showed his strength and everything else here, which is a good, another bit to introduce to the audience to say, look how strong he is. And it's awesome.
Great way to start. But then we go into something that is very depressing to me. It just shows the state of Raw's tag team tenure right there, where you have Rob Van Dam and Booker T beating Garrison Cade and Mark Jindrak, who I wish they actually took more time in developing. And I'm trying to think of how long that tag team was around, maybe 3 weeks at that point.
Yeah.
And let's give them credit and credit's due. Cade and Jindrak, talented to the freaking moon.
Oh
There,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. Jindrak was just a very, very talented guy, wasn't he? And I just never
Freak.
got why he never got nothing more out of it.
And he was supposed to be an evolution guy.
Yeah.
The two other tag teams there with the Dudley Boys, nice to see, and a tag team that you and I really appreciate, La Resistance.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
our friend Renee.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. And Conway was just so talented. The fact that they get pinned in this was kind of sad. Um, it- was it how? What was your feeling overall as far as the tag team atmosphere for Raw in this case?
It's cluster. It was just a cluster. Wasn't great, to be fair with you. And when I looked at the other match, I was thinking, do you know what? If you was there a couple of months ago, maybe swapped one of these teams around, it would have made it a lot better.
I was upset because it's like, all right, cool. I mean, as a kid, you're just like, you want more teams, you want more battle royals, you want more guys involved, you want to hear pops and the entrances. But when there's no rhyme or reason to why people are in there,
No.
and it's just there's no focus on there. I mean, you cut out half the teams in there, and you could have a good battle between guys like La Resistance and Rob Van Dam and Booker T, which had the worst entrance music in the world.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolute crap. But I didn't like them two as a tag team anyway. But I suppose if you're looking at it from Vince's point of view, it's a good way to get them on the card.
Yeah, it's tag team champions. You need that at
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah. But also you need to get that star power on the show, don't you, as well?
And the Dudleys.
Yeah. You know, it's even like myself, like obviously, as you know, I'm going to my first WrestleMania this year. And the likes of seeing John Cena on there is great. You know, if they turn around and started doing a bit of a gimmick battle royal or something along them lines, like, you know, for me personally, if I was watching it at home, I'd be offended. But because I'm going there, it's like, okay, I'm happy to see this stuff.
Yeah.
Like I heard a rumor the other day about Stone Cold going against LA Knight, and it's like, you know, I'm like, all right, well, yeah, it's great. But then because I'm going there, I'm like, oh, brilliant. You know what I mean? Because it's just
Right.
you want to see as many as you can, don't you?
Yeah, of course. You want to see those legends rack up. I mean, plus the fact that it's something
Yeah.
special. You're traveling. You're going to be one of a couple hundred people traveling, maybe 1,000 people traveling to the States to actually see the event, especially all the way on the left coast. I think it's definitely a pivotal piece as far as why people get attracted to go see these events. You want to see the star powers, and that's Austin. Do I think Austin being incorporated makes sense? No, but it's a draw on there. And I also think it's a panic. If this is the case, it's a panic button because The Rock's not going.
Yeah, I think he still turns up, but I think thingy. But just as I say, all these kinds of legends that are there, I want to see them. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy that if they get pushed in somewhere along the way, do you know, then I'll be happy for that because it just means more and more people on the show, and that's where I feel like it's probably. And you know, that match got me thinking about that. Because it got me thinking, like, watching that at home, I'm kind of like, pff. But if I was there, I'd probably be like, okay, well, I've got Van Dam, Booker T, and the Dudley Boys all knocked off in one match. You know what I mean?
When you're attending a Royal Rumble, you know who's going to win, but you got guys coming out like, oh, there's Otis, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So it's the entertainment value of being there, and that's where there's two different things there. Like me, honestly, I would not even attend a Raw or SmackDown now. Not in my life. No, not one bit.
I'll tell you, so we're not going to SmackDown or the Hall of Fame because we're going to GCW and Ring of Honor that day because, again, I've just thought to myself, well, the actual show is probably not going to be great. The Hall of Fame, Batista, yeah, all right, he's great, but it's not, you know, we'll get the pop of him coming out the night after on WrestleMania. So it was like, okay, let's go and experience some different wrestling.
Yeah, Drax the Destroyer coming out there. I hope he just points and laughs.
But they still haven't announced them yet, which is interesting.
It's gonna happen. They announced Ray and Conan.
I know.
How
brilliant.
awesome! I love Conan. Like Conan, I hear him. The dude's got so much knowledge.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, if Condom doesn't come out and hit Ray over the head or something at the ceremony, I'll be disappointed.
Telling you, Dom's got to be in the ring, and Ray comes out as saying, "I will not lay hands on my son, but I must do that now." And then they have an Inferno match.
Yeah, mask versus career.
Dom's been so good anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But back to this, okay? I think, and you're right. You know, you have star powers, and you have a lot of people that just get thrown into matches, just like you said, just to appear for the fans in attendance.
Yeah, and that's what happens on our next match.
Okay, let me tell you something. When I was there, I was excited for this. But when you were watching this as a viewer at home right now, did you enjoy the recap and
Yes.
being taken back?
Yeah, yeah. I also enjoyed the way, and I've got it on my notes, that the way they had the little backstage promos throughout this was brilliant.
Yep. We got Jonathan Coachman searching for the Undertaker and running into some other people.
Mm-hmm.
Got people just like, let's see, Mean Gene Okerlund and Bobby Heenan while they're making out with the Great Moolah. And no, I'm sorry, not the Great Moolah. That's terrible. Great Muda's getting inducted, but Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young, and they go and they
Yeah.
get stuck. I was laughing my ass off with that. And Bobby's pretending to not like it, and he's shutting the door.
Yeah. But he's got that little mysterious look on his face, like.
Oh, so funny. And he's pulling his hand back there. Just wonderful to see them, because the big, we forget the big reveal for the Hall of Fame. This was a huge one here for 19. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, for 20. This is when you had Jesse the Body Ventura in there. I think Junkyard Dog, Big John Studd, Harley Race was there. I mean, this was a huge grab. You're not talking about guys like Hogan or anything. I mean, these were like pinnacle people.
Yeah, and then obviously the Weasel himself.
Yep. Yeah. Just to be there in attendance for this was exciting.
Yeah. And also Tito Santana.
Arriba.
Yeah, it was a great one.
Tito's smart, man. Tito could tell you a lot of things. Tito was at the announce, and people don't realize this. Tito was at the announce desk for the Montreal Screwjob as a Spanish commentator.
Yeah,
I would love to hear what he has to say about that.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, we got on to the next one, and this match is brilliant. Christian versus Chris Jericho. All the nonsense with Trish and that. It's good because back then what they used to do is they build, like now, for instance, is annoying me because, and I know I keep going back to modern day, but with it being WrestleMania season, it's a good point to notice. Is like,
Absolutely.
Some of the matches now, we've only got 5 matches out, I think, or 6 matches to fill 2 nights, and we're like, what, 2 weeks away? 3 weeks away, sorry. So it's like, okay, where are we at now? But if you look at this one in particular, I remember this story going on beforehand and how it progressed and everything else that went with it. And it was great. It was great. As much as looking back at it now, like, with the whole Trish thing and all like that, it's, if you actually watch the story, there's a story there. And it makes you care.
Yeah. And it probably, if I recall, this started maybe the day after the Royal Rumble, I would think.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho and Christian were just a very funny tandem together and had chemistry. And they had amazing chemistry in the ring. And this is probably, I think, we don't go there, but I think even Meltzer said this was probably one of the better matches on the card that night, which is very high praise when you look at what will come when we'll talk about it. Great recap here. I feel like I was back in 2004 when this happened 20 years ago. Like you said, you remember this occurring. The sad part is that they couldn't find anything else for Trish Stratus to do this night.
No.
That's the sad part.
Yeah,
and it was all for $1 Canadian.
I know. Well, she plays a part in this, and I think the little spin at the end. Obviously, Christine defeated Jericho, and then Trish turns on Jericho, but she didn't half hit him though, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she slapped him in the face a couple of times. There's the unprettier, nice move. Then nobody knows what's going on. Christian and Trish kiss each other at the top of the ramp. There's Jericho, all pissed. Here's my question to you. Chris Jericho, two of the biggest draws in AEW. Why the fuck are they nowhere near each other right now?
Because Christian's obviously been working with Jungle Boy for how long, hasn't he? And I think with Christian's probably his own worst
You mi-
enemy.
you mix it up.
Right?
You mix it up. So Christian is with Jungle Boy. Chris Jericho is with the.
Yeah, but I think with Christian's probably took on Jack Perry as a bit of a side project, I think. And that's why they've stayed with each other for so long. A bit like what Jericho does with Sammy Guevara.
I
But
guess.
the only difference is Chris Jericho, in his own mind, thinks that Guevara being associated with him is enough to get him over, where Christian actually tries to get Jungle Boy over
That's a good point. But
by having matches with him.
the problem is that Sammy Guevara isn't doing himself any favors.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and says he sucks, but things don't make sense when you watch a Guevara match.
No.
But if this company was smart, you align Chris Jericho and Christian together. Screw the stables, have those two together.
Yeah.
That's a money draw. That is a money draw.
That's it. Well, we'll move on anyway. We've got the next match. We've got Evolution versus the Rock and Sock. Mate, I tell you what, I am so jealous when I think back to what you see 19 years ago in terms of that promo.
Yes. You talk about Orton at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Orton at the top of the steps, and then you also later on the night you have. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. And I'd actually like to see a developed action figure of The Rock at this night, because he didn't look like this ever again.
No, he didn't. No.
This was weird, right? Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is The Rock. I mean, obviously, he developed, he's The Rock who he is today. But there's one point in time, and I'm watching this, and I go, I actually saw this live, where it was Flair and The Rock facing off against each other. During the match, you could tell they were excited to work with each other, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching the way they interact, and holy Lord, were they happy to be there with each other, wrestling each other.
Yeah.
Very weird for a 3-on-2 where Batista's on the side of the two other people. Batista was the weak link in this match.
Yeah, he was the Wardlow, wasn't he?
Things had changed a year from then.
I know, but no, to be fair, do you know what? It was a good promo, it was a good match in general. I thought they just done everything perfect here, and even the fact that Evolution went over was perfect.
I agree fully. Do you think that at this point, Randy Orton, they knew what they had with Randy Orton?
Yes, I think they knew what they had with Randy Orton from the start. From the start, when they first ever got him, I thought they've always known what they had with him. But I think here it was the right move, because Foley and The Rock get it in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Too many people nowadays, even Lesnar to an extent. I know Lesnar done the job for McIntyre and stuff like that.
And Rollins.
Yeah. But sometimes, like, I think Roman's probably the next one at being tested to see if he starts doing the jobs and stuff, because like Ric Flair wasn't a jobber. He wouldn't do the job for people.
Mm-hmm. No.
Believe too much in his own hype.
No. He knew money.
Stone Cold.
Okay. You're right, but Flair knew how to job and when to job because he knew how to make money.
Yeah, I just think he's a dick, especially nowadays. I can't stand him. Honest to God, do you know what? I can't stand him now, and it breaks me heart, because I loved Ric Flair back in the day, but now I just think he's an absolute knob.
I get it. He's got that essence to him. I'm not just saying in a positive light either. With this promo, with the set of promos that Orton did consecutively at the top of the steps, where he kicked Foley and then they went piece by piece as far as how they took out The Rock, whatever. Just the fact that you have Batista sitting there, not sitting, Batista next to him, and then Flair kind of to the side, like bringing on that confidence. If there's sometimes I really feel this way in life. When you're around successful people, you bring success, okay? Or you are successful, you will become successful because it's that essence. There it is again. Flair's right there next to him, okay? He knew he had the audience in the palm of his hand when Orton was saying, I kicked you down these stairs and I brought down the Rock. So what makes you think you're going to beat us? He was right. He had that confidence because of those two. That was, well, mainly because of Flair next to him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I truly think that this match was fun to watch.
It really was. It really was from the start with the Rock winding up the crowd, and even when they were walking down Evolution, the little smirks out of them, and then the way they won, kind of in the shithouse way, was spot on.
Yep. Yep. And Evolution will be like this for another year or so.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And they were dominate. Well, we'll move on to the next one. Tony Wilson and Sable defeated Miss Jackie and Stacey Keebler in a Playboy evening gown match. Bet your little Dale was happy.
He was all right. I mean, I was all the way frick up there. I couldn't see anything. But this is funny. I actually just saw that on eBay, Jackie Gata is selling that nightgown autographed.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah. Oh, well,
So
good luck, right?
Yeah, and she was a good-looking chick. People don't realize how good-looking of a girl she was.
Do you know what? I think one thing that I do want to say is Sable, when she's put around people like, and something I've noticed here, Sable, when she's put around Tori Wilson, Miss Jackie, and Katie Keebler, does not look like the superstar that she claims to always be.
You are correct. Because she just looks like some girl that was in a commercial.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference in why she never got her own way in this era like she did back in the day, because you go back to the early days, there was no one really like her in there, was there?
Yeah, you're correct. Nobody was. They brought her on. We all know the legacy about what she left in the black mark, I guess you could say, she did on the women's division here.
Yeah.
When you have people like in the industry like
Yeah.
Luna, Miss Jackie.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, though, is back in the 98, 99, 97, there was no one that was like these girls now. And I think that's what made her not stand out as much, which means she didn't get this whole push that she wanted as much anymore.
I'm gonna name 4 of those women, okay? Sable, Tori, Stacy, and Jackie. Who are the ones, when you picture them in your mind without watching this match, who's the ones that are smiling?
Yeah.
You picture Stacy Keebler smiling. You picture Tori Wilson smiling. Jackie, too. Jackie was having fun. Can you picture Sable smiling when you think of her?
No.
Just cash and checks, man. And that's fine, but she did nothing to the business. That was great.
No. And that's why when everyone says about putting her in the Hall of Fame, I'm like, no. And that's why, I'll be honest, when Tori Wilson went in before her, I was over the moon. Over the moon.
Tori took her role and she took her ball and ran and looked great doing it.
But
and
one thing I'm still not happy about is the fact that they didn't put Luna in the other section, which just peeves me off. Something wrong.
It's
alumni section.
I think that there's something because honestly, I think it's contractual. I think it has something to do with getting the rights of things. But meanwhile, it's Luna. I don't understand what the issue is. Like, she's been with you guys, and that's Bam's main squeeze. Is Bigelow in the Hall of Fame?
No. He is, yeah.
He is, right?
Yeah.
He should be. I don't know.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. But, oh well, right, we'll move on anyway to my main man. So it was Chavo Guerrero, not Junior, Chavo Guerrero, because that's what he was named this time.
That's
with
true.
the main man himself, Chavo Classic. Oh yeah. Defeated Akio, Billy Kidman, Funaki, Jamie Noble, Nunzio, Rey Mysterio, Shannon Moore, Tajiri, and Ultimate Dragon. Chavo Guerrero was on fire here as the Cruiserweight Championship. And they always say the belt doesn't make the person makes the belt. And I think John Cena and Chavo Guerrero from this card can really, really state that fact.
2 big reasons why people watch SmackDown. The Cruiserweights were phenomenal to watch on there. It was nice to see that they had designated time on there. It wasn't like when they did the minis. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
A few years later. Instead, they ended up doing the cruiserweights, and this is when you want to see that high-paced, fast action. That's what you're going to watch. You're going to go
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I would love it if Paul London was in this category at this time because
Mm,
I love the insight that guy has. He's a wrestler, true and true.
yeah,
But yeah, good to see Shannon Moore here started off.
yeah.
We're not going to go through the whole match, but what happens is somebody gets pinned, the next person comes up, then the next person comes up. Funaki had a great way that he got eliminated. He did a crossbody that was rolled up, and then he got pinned. Tajiri, green mist to Akio. Akio can't continue. And if I recall, this is the famous Rey Mysterio Flash outfit.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And also, my friend's Ultimo Dragon here, which was great to see.
Yeah, as he tripped out the entranceway in his big debut.
I loved Ultimo. I did. He was always
Yeah.
one of my favourites.
Super
At
talented.
WCW NWO Revenge game, he was always my go-to guy.
Yeah, it was quick. That was the other thing. And he had the Ultimo Sleeper, right?
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, we had Chavo Guerrero wins this with the help of Chavo Classic. Do you know what? I just loved the whole Chavo Guerrero, Chavo Classic stuff. I just always thought it was great.
Solid TV each and every week that you
Yeah,
put them both on there.
Yeah. And do you know what? Just pure bloodline with Chavo Classic. It's like you can see the experience oozing out of him in everything that he does and the way he moves. And, it's just great, mate. It's so good. So good.
Exactly. And you would see it continue on TV for the next couple of months there, too. Even with, I guess it was Miss Jackie.
Yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah, that sent Chavo a piece of lingerie or something like that, if I recall. Was
Yeah.
it Jazz or Jackie? I think it was Jackie, right?
Was Jackie? I'm sure it was, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, good stuff there. It was funny TV, and there's Chavo Senior holding it up. Judgment Day 04, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll move on to our next match, which was, it was what it was. Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar with Stone Cold as the special guest referee. I just gog, man. I hated him from day one, and from the minute he come into WWE, I just couldn't stand him. Just could not stand him. Yeah,
sucked. They had The Rock put him over.
I know, and Brock Lesnar. It's like
awful. The crowd knew, and this is when you really knew that online dirt sheets and certain websites were in full force, knowing that both these guys were going to have their last match there for quite some time. And the fact that the WWE 15 years later would actually try to bank off this match and people would forget that this one actually happened. This was not a match about Goldberg and Brock, though. This was a match that said, hey, we need Austin involved in there somehow so he could get some sort of revenge on Brock. This was not about him.
No. And I thought also as well is the only bit of this match I actually liked is when Austin stunned Goldberg. And I just thought that was Vince's probably way of saying you don't have everything your own way, mate.
It's true.
And also, for me, it was the way of saying to the world, Austin means more to this wrestling thing than Goldberg ever will.
It's without a doubt true. I was there. I was bored to death. As soon as they do a collar and elbow tie-up, everybody knew it. 3 sections to my left, there was a guy that was probably like 400 pounds in a Hogan shirt. We were chanting for Hogan, and he actually ripped the shirt. Middle of March, nothing on.
Who's that bored that much?
You could hear it about midway through the match. I'm not telling people to rewatch it because I don't want to subject people to crap. But that was awful. I was so bored. We just want to see Austin ride back on his ATV and just go back to so bad.
I know. Well, we'll move on anyway. So next one we've got is Too Cool. Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty defeated the world's greatest tag team, the Bashing Brothers and APA. Now, one thing I do want to say is when Rikishi got put into the Hall of Fame, he did not mention Brian Christopher or Scotty 2 Hotty, and I just thought for me he was a piece of shit for not doing that. The Too Cool had a big part in his whole career. We had the Fatu stuff before that, which didn't work very well. We had the Sultan, and then Rikishi come along, which, Rikishi on his own was probably not too bad. but Rikishi with Too Cool for me was something special with the dancing and the glasses and everything else. And the fact that they did not turn around and put him in there with them, and he never mentioned them or anything like that, is just absolutely scumbag behaviour, in my opinion. In my opinion, it was just ridiculous. And, you know, it is what it is. But some of the other tag teams in this one, we've got the world's greatest tag team. They were brilliant, as always. Both went on to have good careers. I don't get why Charlie Haas never hit the heights that Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin should have been the world champion, in my opinion. And then we had also the APA, obviously a bit of nice experience in there. Yeah, I was just saying, Dale, just the guys is... I won't recap everything I was saying there. No, you had to shoot off there. We kept it going. But
I'm okay.
For me, Rikishi, when he turned around and went to when he was put in the Hall of Fame and he never mentioned Scotty 2 Hotty or Brian Christopher, I just thought it was a real dick move, because
It is.
realistically, you know, we had the Rikishi, we had the Fatu stuff, and then we had the Sultan, and nothing ever got good.
Yep.
But it, you know, Too Cool's really started getting it, wasn't it?
Yeah, we could thank you. Exactly. He can thank them for that. I don't think it's a problem with there. I just don't understand like what the problem was between him and those two, even though they elevated his career and he elevated them. Let's be fair here. So I could have done without Rikishi there. I mean, there's literally 3 other tag teams in this that could actually, you know, elevate the tag title. I'll say it. The Bashams were people that nobody gave credit to. If you watch them in the ring, they got handed shit gimmicks. Talk about, if you hear Cornette talk about guys like Rob Conway, the Bashams, Rene Dupree, it goes down the list as far as who, and the guy brought up Cena, brought up Batista, brought up Orton. Like, give them some. This just shows you how bad John Laurinaitis was for this company. But yeah, you mean to tell me you couldn't have Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas win? You mean to tell me?
Yeah, but I think they had a lot of tag team reigns, didn't they? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not against Too Cool winning this one. I'm not against Too Cool having a title run. I loved Too Cool when I was younger.
I get it. And maybe, you know what it is? Maybe if you were to have the Bashams win while they were under JBL's cabinet, that could be something different. But
yeah, definitely. Well, we'll move on anyway. We have Victoria defeated Molly Holly in a really good match. This was a really good match. And Molly's hair's never recovered.
No, it never did. And
Yeah.
if you think about the funny thing about it is that when you this match was never supposed to happen.
No.
Until Molly actually said, "I will shave my head." Well, I think that's a good idea then. I say we put it on there.
Yeah, Vince loved the good hair things, didn't he?
Maybe I'll try that someday.
Yeah.
Against Donald Trump, who look, and this was, like you said, Victoria, fantastic, deserves all the accolades in the world. One of the more underrated women wrestlers out there. Actually, I think she's getting credit now. Still in great shape. Just a solid person whatsoever.
Yeah. And Molly does a lot of good, and she does a lot of good work backstage now as well, doesn't she?
She's valuable. Molly Holly is a treat to the industry.
Yeah. She still works for WWE. She does, doesn't she? She's backstage producer still.
That's why the booking's been better.
Yeah.
We forgot one thing. Jesse Ventura comes out. I think we need a wrestler in the White House. What do you think, Donald Trump? Well, one of those guys became president.
I don't like Jesse. Don't like him.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just always thought he was just a bit of a douchehead.
He's for the people, though. The guy wants to make sure that wrestlers get paid for their service.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what, mate? One thing that I can't comment on him as a senator or anything, because I'm not close enough to your politics to understand that. So I would never, comment on something that I don't know.
I live in Minnesota, so I don't know. All we know is that Minnesota raised the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, not half. Well, we'll move on anyway. We've got the next match is Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle. Awesome match as always between these two. Absolutely brilliant. I haven't got a bad thing to say about this. The only thing I'd say is, I'll admit, I thought Kurt was going to beat Eddie here.
Oh, yeah.
when I was younger. Not now, but when I was younger, I thought Eddie's not going to keep that title long. In my head, he's just given me to give him a moment, and he'll pull it straight back off him. So, I remember watching this when I was a kid, and I absolutely hit the roof, like made up when he won.
I was surprised as hell. We were on the other side when we saw the roll up and the shoot thing because we saw Kurt look up and we're like, what? And then the roll up happened at the end. You can't, to show the determination or talk about the determination of Eddie Guerrero just trying to make people look better is amazing.
Yeah,
Like watching this match, do you need to make Kurt Angle look better? The guy headlined WrestleMania a year before. No,
no,
but he did. Eddie
mm,
Guerrero elevated guys like that. And Kurt did the same thing. I'm watching the build up here, and I forgot that Guerrero and Paul Heyman really were at odds ends with each other. I forgot about this whole thing. And then they had the hands tied behind the back match
yeah,
on SmackDown. And that's when Kurt came out, and Cole and Taz did an awesome job being concerned here.
yeah,
Less is more. And I said this on one of the streams the other day. Less is more. Sometimes as an announcer, just take a step back. Let this develop. Don't talk over everything, explain everything over and over again. Dead air can be good. And this is exactly what happened during this, because we watched the actual thing on Daily Motion. It's just exciting to watch, just
yeah.
everything going on there. But yeah, Eddie Guerrero goes over in a classic match.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it was always going to be a classic match between these two because the two of them are just pedigree-wise, absolutely brilliant.
Awesome match. Like I said, or I'll say it right now, if you're going to watch 3 matches from this is top tier on there.
Yeah, I'd say this one, and then the Evolution one, and Benoit.
Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on then. So we've got the next match. We've got Undertaker with Paul Bearer defeats Kane again at WrestleMania again.
I texted you this week and I said, when you're watching this, when they do the recap again, listen to Kane's promo.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think?
Yeah, brilliant. I thought Kane was a great promo. I always thought he was.
When they gave him the mic and he didn't have that voice box,
No.
the description of Undertaker, you turned your back on what we represented and you became one of the people.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Did that resonate?
I know.
Because everything was true.
Yeah, that's it.
In kayfabe world.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, they done a good job with this match, but it's always one of them matches because we've seen it so many times. It was just like, you know what I mean? But I think that's not a bad thing for them because it's a testament to how longevity their careers were, both of them. And I think that, they were probably, it's one of them things where they were always going to clash heads now and again. And it feels like it's a lot more than what it actually is.
Exactly. It's not like Matt and Jeff going at each other again.
No.
But if you think about it, the entrance of The Undertaker was the stake and the sizzle was the match.
Yeah. Well, we were getting to that point with Undertaker even this early on. At 20 and 19 years later, it's like, now my whole thing with The Undertaker is do your entrance and leave. That's all we want.
Don't touch anybody. Yeah, we get it. We're calling for the spots there. We want to see Undertaker do his moves, the walking the top rope and all that stuff. We get it. The tombstone, the choke slam, but to come out with the Druids and to see that in person was fucking cool.
Yeah, but it's one of them. It serves its purpose.
And Paul Bear coming out was a very big surprise. The internet community was upset because he declined being there. And then on his website, people on a message board, people were like, why the hell did you lie to us? And he's like, dude, I'm trying to keep kayfabe. Stop.
Yeah. We're just looking now. I think Undertaker beat Kane 17 times.
Does that include tag teams?
Yeah. How many times did Undertaker beat Kane at WrestleMania?
Got to be 3.
Nah, 2.
Oh, but that's just Mania.
Yeah, in matches that they had at major pay-per-views. It's like 17.
Inferno. Yeah,
Yeah.
Inferno matches. Yeah, all that stuff.
Oh, God.
But didn't he beat Chronic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think Isaac as well, he fought, didn't he?
Isaac. Oh,
Isaac
Isaac
Yankem.
Yanking.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, when we reviewed Survivor Series 95, he beat him.
Yeah, because they had the Buried Alive match at Bragging Rights 2010.
Bragging rights.
Then they had a No Holds Barred match at Night of Champions. Oh, God.
Bragging
Oh, God.
rights. Oh my God. I forgot that was a thing.
It was.
You
No,
got
we're not doing it next week.
no. You have to dust that section off the Peacock.
I know.
So we go from that fun stuff to probably, I'll put it out there, one of the best matches I've ever seen live. Maybe
Oh,
the best.
100%. 100%. 100%. What a match. What an
Again,
absolute match.
we're not going to talk about the Benoit that had CTE and his brain was scrambled eggs and couldn't think properly and conduct himself properly in the
No.
world. We're going to talk about the amazing, amazing work that he did.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
good wrinkle with Michaels in here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Michaels was a good addition to this match. I thought he added a lot to it. I felt like and this is not a dig at Triple H. If you didn't have Michaels there, the charisma for this match wouldn't have been there.
Great point.
Because I think the two of them, in terms of Triple H at the time, Triple H's character, which I'm not saying Triple H doesn't have the charisma, but his character base at that time and Chris Benoit together against each other, lonesome, would have gelled as right for me.
Correct. As a viewer there, I was shocked that Evolution did not come around there.
Yeah, yeah.
During this match.
I was glad he didn't.
Oh, would have sucked. It really would have sucked, even if
Yeah.
there was like some sort of outs and we still had the same results. But this was like Shawn Michaels coming out there, and I was a huge Shawn Michaels fan. I think we all know that. But at this time, it was Benoit's right to win. He won the Royal Rumble as number 1 a couple months prior.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we actually reviewed that one. I don't think we did, but
No.
but anyway, spoiler alert, Benoit won.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I just love the fact that you had tandems working together in this match nonstop, and it got to the point where they took out Benoit on the outside. Any good spots here that you liked, Andy?
To be honest, not in particular. No, I just liked the match as a whole. I just thought the match was really a solid match. And as you say there, I like the way that it was 1 out, 2 in, 1 out, in out, and they kind of kept that going really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Benoit slap a sharpshooter on there,
Yeah,
and then getting super kicked by Shawn, that looked devastating. It came out of nowhere, and even being there, Shawn never really entered your field of vision until that quickly. You
yeah.
couldn't see it set up at that point.
No, I know. I mean, that was a good point, but it's as I say, this match as a whole was just so well done that I always think is matches like this for me, nothing stands out specifically because it was all good.
That's a great point.
Do you get what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like in certain matches, especially nowadays, there'll be that one big high spot or that one big moment, and it's like, but in matches like this, it was constantly just back and forward, so tit for tat. It was great.
I did the stream the other day about how bad John Moxley is, and I will always say that. And I highlighted the fact that I loved the back rake that he did. So there was a back rake that Moxley ended up doing and looked like he was ripping flesh off of Adam Page. That's me highlighting a back rake. So it just goes to show you how much just goes to show you how much I actually hate John Moxley matches. But if I'm highlighting a back rake, there's something wrong with the match.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what happened either.
Just flicked out.
Hey, it's like you dumped me right there. But overall, great way to end it. They take Shawn out of the ring, backdrop out of the ring. Then you have this crippler crossface that's applied to Triple H. Just magnificent. Triple H rolls out of it because Triple H, give credit where credit's due, phenomenal champion and fantastic worker and elevated talent. I don't care what people said. They elevated the matches he was in with whoever his opponent was. I don't care what people say.
No, he did. He did. He did. He was great.
And the visual at the end was something that's iconic that the WWE doesn't want you to realize happened. But Eddie and Chris in the ring celebrating. And then later on, the family's coming in there.
Yeah. And you know what? Another thing that I do want to say as well is I feel sorry for Eddie Guerrero, probably in that sense as well, because probably a big moment for him and the way that it was put was taken away from him by what Chris done.
Yeah, but you have people like us that need to tell the story of this.
No, yeah, 100%. And obviously, as I say, we're not going to get rid of the wrestling part of it. We will get rid of the other bits of his life. But, you know, in the ring, he was a beast. And that's just the end of that. And also, I feel like for the likes of Triple H and stuff, it's not fair to skin over these matches.
Of course. No, I agree. Andy, overall, WrestleMania 20.
4 out of 5 for me.
So you're giving this like an 8 out of 10?
8 out of 10, yeah.
Yeah. Any reasons?
I loved all the promos, the backstage bits. The matches were quality. They didn't run too long either. Really liked it. Just in general, really good.
Of course, yeah, I'd agree. I'm gonna go with I'll go with a 8 out of 10 myself. I wish there was more of a concentration on the tag team division at that point. I will also give it a nice little bonus point because Christian slapped on a fantastic looking cloverleaf, a Texas cloverleaf that looked great. The right people won when you're not talking about the tag team divisions. Actually, you could have had Lesnar win. It wouldn't really matter. But that match actually brought this pay-per-view down, and WWE wants you to forget about it, but we never will. It was awful. But we'll never forget about Benoit winning. We'll never forget about Eddie winning.
No.
Just a solid. It's just awesome watch. Awesome watch. So what do we got for next week?
Oh, get with me. I'm going to have a think about this right now. WrestleMania 30.
Okay, cool.
Okay, the reason we're going to go down that route is one, Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan in this case, is quite thingy at the time, but also, believe it or not, it's one of my favourite WrestleManias because it was the last one me and my dad watched together. Cool. And bear in mind, my dad's not gone or anything, but you know, we used to watch them quite often together. But obviously since then his health's deteriorated a lot and he can't really stay up to watch these things or anything anymore. But me and my dad actually sat down together and watched this whole event. It was awesome.
If I recall, there's one match I really want to watch on there, but I'll talk about it next week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't watched that in years. Yeah, probably since that day. So.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. We appreciate you as always. Apologies for the little bit of downtime that we had. Obviously, you know, I wasn't well, so we just couldn't get it done. But I do apologize about that. But we're never be back.
We're never well. We're just more unweller.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're getting old, isn't it, mate? But guys, thanks so much for watching. We will see you same time, same place next week.